Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Bone Podcast, where we discuss all things crypto market. That includes the majors like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, meme coins, and of course, NFTs. A little NFT news today, back from 2021. Today, we're going to discuss the market bounce ahead of today's FOMC meeting. We're going to talk about whether or not there are too many token launch pads as we get another one out of Radium. And we're going to see if it's time to run back 2021 and Top Shot season again, this time on OpenSea. GM, I got Clemente with me this morning. We're gonna do a little two-man pick and roll action here. How you feeling?
I'm doing fantastic, Ray. Thank you for asking. I kind of miss the Solana commercial because I felt like yesterday there wasn't as much to talk about. You know, it felt like we had a little bit of a cooler 24 hours, but still a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm slightly worried because I'm supposed to move out of my apartment in 12 days and I haven't signed the lease for my new apartment. Dude, the leasing agent's like ghosting me now. I'm like, yo, they like asked for extra documents. I sent them to him. And well, first off, last Thursday, he was like, yo, apply, we're good to go. And then I applied and I emailed him and I was like, yo, I applied. And then he responded with an automatic email saying he's out of office for the next 6 days. I'm like, dog, the fuck? And then it was supposed to be like a 48-hour turn. I've learned, Ray, that like a lot of people in Miami genuinely just don't work, or like they have a way slower sense of urgency. Like they're just chilling.
I feel like that's like Spain, like Barcelona-esque. I was there with my wife on a trip, and everyone's just like middle of the day, like it's like siesta time. We just pop out, walk around, maybe go to the beach. It's like I guess Miami has that same kind of vibe in the U.S. Just everyone just hanging out and just sip a couple cocktails midday, hit the beach.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Even you go to like the gym during the day, even, and there's so many people just there at like noon. Just lollygagging. So look, I mean, if I don't get my apartment, I try to like check if I left the door open. Shit, I need to go close that. I checked the to see if my apartment was like listed or what they were listing it at. It's already sold. So you know, at the 31st, they're gonna come knocking down this door and kicking me out of this. So I might be leaving being on the street in a bit. And real quick, Big A is saying Clemente's no credit score is behind this. I have a credit score now, Big A. I received a credit card as well that I applied for it, but I can't figure out how to set it up. So that's my next challenge.
Oh man, you know what's gonna happen? It's gonna come out that the new leasing agent had gotten in contact with your landlord. Like, dude, this guy just gets a noise violation every other day. He's in there singing, he's in there yelling, he's ranting, he's banging on the walls, he's running around the apartment soaking wet. Like, you don't want this guy. You don't want this guy as part of your complex.
No, this is actually like worrisome. I would rather them tell me like, yo, you're not accepted for this thing. Oh my God. Okay. I did receive an email for him. Shit.
Classic. Oh, know what you'll be doing.
Document upload resubmission required. Shit.
Yeah, I mean, so instead of doing today's show, should we just like fill that out together? Just like really give the audience like what they're looking for here.
Oh shit. Yeah, I gotta actually fucking do this. Oh my God, dude. Fuck. All right, folks. God damn, dude. Yo. Oh my God. Why didn't I get a notification of this shit? Okay. I need 3 months transactional bank statements, 3 most recent pay stubs. Dude, I did all. Oh my God. All right.
We're watching in real time, folks, as Clemente is panicking over being homeless potentially in 2 weeks.
Okay. Romnick message me. Follow up regarding your verification process. I've sent you a link.
Crowd saying no one cares, Clemente.
All right, let's go. I'm gonna lock in, dude. I'm gonna lock in. Hey, we're gonna figure this out.
Lock in. You want to lock in with the weather report?
Yeah, let's go.
Get it up.
I'm about to see. There's gonna be the Jordan flu game here, folks. I'm gonna put on the professionalism of a lifetime because it's Wednesday, March 14th, ladies and gentlemen. Looking over at the crypto roundup. The majors are up on the day. We got Bitcoin just under 84K. Ethereum hovering around 2,000. A little bit of a green. across the board. Ethereum looking good. We all know what that means. And Solana 127. Over the past 24 hours, the top 3 stories, we got Radium announcing Launch Lab, a pump fund style token launchpad that leverages Radium's existing LP infrastructure. This comes after Pump Fund, whose tokens graduate to Radium pools, began testing their own LPs. Radium is coming right back at you saying, you want to come at us? We'll come right back at you, buddy. Radium's Ray token is up over 10% on the day to $1.82. Might be an interesting buy here, right? Over Jupiter. I'm trying to sell my Jupiter, and I'm currently waiting 30 days to unstake it. Next up, Microsoft flagged malware that targets crypto wallets. The information targeting Trojan software can monitor the user's clipboard, actively search for passwords, seed phrases, and private keys. Ladies and gentlemen, that's why you don't keep your seed phrases on your notepads or things like that. I've been guilty of this in the past, so I need to do some cleaning out of my own software. Finally, we have a headline that feels like it came from 2021. OpenSea announced that NBA Top Shot moments are now tradable on their platform. Moments have traded like less than $7,000 in volume since yesterday's debut. This is insane. That's all for the weather report. Back over to you, Ray. And I'm going to go shut my door.
Excellent weather report. As always, Clemente, looking over at Top Shot, absolutely absurd here. 18,000 flow traded over the last roughly 19 hours. So about 19 hours of trading time, 18K flow at about 40 cents. That brings us right to around $7,000 of trading volume. Even though these are not seeing a ton of volume, I feel like this is like fairly interesting and like kind of makes me want to buy these. Like I tweeted out this morning, I kind of want to buy some of these moments. Actually, some of them are getting swept right now.
Why would you buy this?
I don't know what it is about them being on OpenSea. Like it just feels better to have them like in my like crypto wallet instead of like going through Top Shot's platform, essentially. If that makes sense. So people like withdrawing them from Top Shot, listing them on OpenSea. I'd be looking at like Series 1 cards that were good, like good Series 1 cards, like LeBron moments from Series 1. God, some of these used to sell for so much. Like the LeBron Series 1 dunks. Like, this is just like sad seeing this at 1K now. Like this used to be like I think this was in like the like mid 5 figures, low 5 figures back when. Don't quote me, it's been a long time, but like some of these better Series 1 moments I'm interested in. And I know Tyler D, he's not in the audience today, but usually listens to the show. He's a big Top Shot guy, and he's been acquiring moments as well. And he talked about getting some Wemby rookies from last year. So I might dabble into this as more of these come out. I'm assuming more people will withdraw and try to like get liquidity from people like me. If that makes sense. So maybe prices dip a little bit as there's more supply like withdrawn and then posted on OpenSea. So something I'm interested in, something that's pretty cool. And I don't know why it took so long for this to happen, to be honest.
I mean, what is Flow? I haven't used Flow ever.
Yeah, I mean, Flow is the blockchain that Top Shot was on. It was built with like Top Shot built it, Dapper Labs, and then like I think Doodles like did some Flow stuff for a while. Like they're on Flow, kind of like meandering back and forth, Flow, ETH, base. But yeah, it's supposed to be cheap, scalable blockchain that makes sense for Top Shot.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, Ray, you might be alone on this one. I will not be participating in the Top Shot, the Top Shot trenches. But who knows? Who knows? It might work out. I know a lot of people that got. I mean, there was a large NFT crowd that got into NFTs and crypto because of Top Shot.
Yeah, and I think like that's like the thesis for me. Honestly, it's like you're not going to flip these in a day, a month, a year, maybe even 2 years, but like owning series, like just for me, like if crypto continues to expand like we think it will, Bitcoin becomes like massively adopted, other cryptos jump in. I feel like NFTs, like the shelling points of NFTs are like, if you're looking at like talking about the history of NFTs, you're mentioning CryptoPunks and then you're mentioning Top Shot as like the first two things. So like that combined with just like being the OG series, being old, like as time goes on, like sports cards in general get more valuable as well. So it could just be like an interesting, like it's like a mega long-term play. Essentially. It's like my dad's been collecting baseball cards for his entire life, and like some of his old cards are worth a lot of money. It's like a lifetime type play, and that's what I'd be interested in. And it's not gonna be like trading money; it's like long-term investment money.
Yeah, I do think most NFT, like I was thinking about it this morning, most NFT purchases you have to look at in the form of like multiple years, or at least weeks or months, right? If not like years.
Weeks and stuff. Like I don't like if you're trading it in weeks, that you're hoping for like a token or a token announcement. I feel like
Yeah, it's a
like
different like I used to trade NFTs and be like, I'm gonna buy this now and sell it like for a 20% gain or whatever in like 2 weeks, right? And now things are like pretty illiquid nowadays. Good Vibes Club still 0.4, which is cool to see. We got Pudgy Penguins on back up above 9. Interesting. So you know what I know we've been talking a good amount of NFT stuff recently, and it's not the entire group of people listening might be interested in it. I've been interested in Chromie Squiggles, right? I've always wanted one. And I just saw they're at $8,000. I wouldn't buy one now, but at some point I would like to buy one. I would like to buy a little Chromie Squiggle. I've always loved these. I've always been an art connoisseur at heart, right? 40, what was the all-time high on these? Like 10?
I would say like 14. I would say they got a little bit above 10. Let me look at all time.
So if we're gonna do some throwbacks, I'd rather buy a Chromie Squiggle.
What's the floor right now?
It's 3.9, but you can get an offer in for 3.5.
3.5. So you're looking at what, $6-7 grand for a Squiggle right now?
Yeah.
The thing is with like Squiggles, it's like the thing that worries me, like I know people point to them, but like you're competing with like a number of other things for provenance. It's like, is it Squiggles? Is it Fidenzas? Is it autoglyphs? Is it ringers? Is it some other like art blocks plays? Like there's a lot of these early ones. I know this is one of like the OGs. I think you can make the same argument I did for like Top Shot. Like you can't talk about art NFTs without talking about Chromie Squiggles, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But
the Top Shot stuff for me is just like there's so many different ones. Like you got to know what to buy. Versus like art for me, the art narrative is your computer's bugging out a bit, Ray.
yes.
The art narrative for me has always made sense. So I've like always been interested in it, but it's just been a huge like they've just gone down over time. And I'm not doing it necessarily for a flip. I would buy this because I like it and then hold it for like whatever, 3 years, 5 years.
So I've got the Squiggle floor up here on WGMI. We're looking at 17.5 Pico top, January 3rd, 2023 for Squiggles. USD Pico top was very early on, 45K for Squiggles, October of 2021 when they were right around 10 ETH. We are now like almost Pico lows. Like you could have gotten Squiggles cheaper at like right when FTX happened in June of 2022. That you can get them sub 6K at the very bottom. So like we are very close to that old bottom. The question is like, do we set a new bottom before we go up again? If you bought, at 6K, you would have been able to exit at like 4 or 5x.
Yeah,
within that's even like 5 months, within 6 months. So like buying this like fear for some of these art NFTs might make sense. If we see another NFT rally, I have to imagine art NFTs are going to have a season as well. And I think that we could see like the opposite without NFTs pump. So I think we could see like an art NFT run without seeing like a overall NFT run, if that makes sense. I don't think that art NFTs are dependent on an overall NFT run, but they would benefit from one as well. So that's something to watch out for. I think we are getting into a lot of Pico low prices for art NFTs. So if you're somebody who's interested in that sort of thing, if you can find something that you have conviction in, because these could be like long-term holds, it's not a bad idea to pick up here. Because I mean, even if you bought around like this 10K mark and if you didn't sell this Pico top, you're just basically holding through chop, like even now, and you're down on it. So like you have to be like super confident in the purchase and like the purchase to be able to hold it through ups and downs to come out with a profit. Like you can't just be swing trading this without that level of conviction.
Yeah, 100%. Well, yeah, we'll see. Yeah, it's a little NFT stuff I was looking at yesterday.
Yeah, super interesting. Next story I want to cover is this Radium announcement launching a token launchpad called Launch Lab. This comes after Pump Fund was testing liquidity pools. Radium fought right back and said, "Hey, you're going to test out liquidity pools and get rid of our cut. Well, we're going to try to attack your network and take over the launchpad side of things." I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it before I kind of talk about it myself. Nick, welcome to the show. Did you see this Radium news?
Which one? About the Pump Fund competitor?
Yes.
You're talking about the Radium news that I posted about yesterday, right as it happened?
Exactly.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, good. What do you think? What do you make of it?
I mean, there's a bunch of Pump Fund things. I saw some stuff this morning as well, unrelated to that, about Binance chain seeing more activity than Solana over the past 24 hours. What do you make of that?
I don't know if you would have heard me talk about that on the show yesterday, where I talked about that, broke the news on the show live yesterday.
Oh,
and
did you?
You would have known my opinion. It was based on the back of two tokens, Mubarak and Tutorial, that pumped. CZ bought one BNB of each 2 days ago or so, and they went on a massive rally, and then that kind of spurred all the other tokens that have been pumping over the last few weeks to run as well. So BNB chain saw its moment. Everything's down about 15 to 20% today. I haven't looked at the DEX volume on BNB to see if it's kind of slowed down, but we generally see like these small concentrated pumps in BNB from like time to time in the meme coins. Then it kind of like fades until the next catalyst.
Well, if you'd heard my thoughts this morning while I was thinking about this stuff, then you would have known, Ray, that basically I mean, is Binance chain actually legit or like a joke, or is it more of a signal of the fact of how down bad Solana is right now? The trenches are absolutely cooked.
we had a stream yesterday and I got cooked. I'm pretty sure Clemente got cooked if he even bought anything, and Easy ended up like 5 Solana from this stream we did trading yesterday, and we're all like trading like the same stuff. He ended up just buying like this absolute garbage token that like managed to like 2 or 3x on. So it was a wild time. But yeah, the trenches are pretty cooked right now. Like we were buying garbage just to like try to scalp very small gains. It was not great.
I genuinely don't think the trenches are dead. I don't understand the narrative of like.
Did you see Greeny's tweet this morning about it?
No, what did he say?
He showed data just verifiably proving. Clemente is like, I don't feel like.
Hold on. So there is less volume. There's less tokens graduating. There is less. They're getting higher. But my thesis is that the trenches.
Sorry, what's getting higher?
They're not pumping as hard. Coins are definitely not pumping as hard.
So that would be lower.
Yeah, but I think this is the normal baseline expectations for how the trenches should be. Like, I don't think meme coins were ever supposed to be this ridiculous, massive market that it was I genuinely think this period from November to like February, we might not ever replicate again. It was ridiculous stuff that was launching and pumping to ungodly levels. When in reality, meme coins now are meme coins. Like, it's just natural internet virality. When we see a viral internet moment, like we saw with Please, we're going to see another runner to 50 mil or 100 mil. And then we'll see another 0.01% where we see another Mood Dang. Like, but these are just internet moments, and meme culture is going to continue to grow. It's not going anywhere. The trenches aren't going anywhere. But the fact that like people are like dunking on Pump Fun because like the trenches are dead, all that means is that people are broke and they're tired of speculating on random bullshit that was never going anywhere to begin with. Like people posted the swastika coin or whatever that Kanye West tweeted out, and they're like, yo, 6 months ago, this shit would have pumped to $1 billion. The trenches are dead. I'm like, good, dude. That shit should have never pumped to begin with. And like, if anything, this is a mature, like we're going through a maturity piece with this asset class that is 100% needed.
Okay, well, maturity may be a little bit ridiculous. You know, my contention is that the overall, meme coin market has gone through an evolution. But I don't. You seem particularly passionate about it, which I think is good. I don't know that. Cooked means you're not like the structure of the market before was a lot of people were playing in it because a lot of your odds of winning were greater than 1%.
Yeah.
And right now it's less than 1%. It was getting worse, by the way, because where it was shifting was to people who were effectively intentionally or unintentionally pumping and dumping. Like at the end of the day, like Frank, for example, was he pumping and dumping? I don't know. I don't have any verification, but he ended up pumping and dumping as a result of his wallet. Like that wasn't like he masterminded that model out the gate. I don't know if that, at least I don't know that was necessarily the case. And so, but there were a bunch of people like that where you would follow their wallet, see that this thing is pumping, go chase in and follow them. But there's just not enough of those people operating right now.
Yeah, I mean the what was it, Nick? I remember you and I were
holy shit! Look at this.
Looks good. XRP.
What? Why is that pumping so much?
Brad Garlinghouse post. This is it. The moment we've been waiting for. The SEC will drop its appeal. Resounding victory for Ripple for crypto. Every way you look at it, the future is bright. Let's build.
Let's go, XRP fam. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. So,
what 1 year chart on XRP is insane.
What is the chart interval on this?
It's a 15-minute.
Maybe we could zoom out a little bit. I mean, that looks like such a tiny wick. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's a wick from 220 to 250, 260 almost.
Yeah, but it's still down below. It seems like this was what was kind of anticipated.
Yeah, I don't think anyone thought that the SEC was going to continue to continue their lawsuit or continue their appeal. So I imagine this is priced in. This is like a brief news pump, but I wanted to introduce it with that nice little candle to get you interested in. And
I bet you did.
The story.
I bet you expected it.
Yep, I did. Expected. Oh man. Okay. Sorry to interrupt. I just saw that news popping through. Saw some talk in the comments there, so wanted to bring us over in that direction. Yeah, I think I agree with you, Nick.
Did you want to take us into a dead end? You wanted to go drive us into a corner, maybe a little a cul-de-sac.
Yeah, we're gonna go right into the cul-de-sac. We're gonna circle around and we're gonna come right back to the meme coin talk. Just a little detour. We made a right turn instead of going straight. Did a little cul-de-sac detour. Okay. Now we're gonna come back into meme coins.
Oh, great job there, Ray.
Yeah, thank you, Nick. Anyway, I think I agree with you. We're not seeing the heavy participation. We're not seeing the daily runners, but I think like Clemente said, it's also healthy. And we are seeing longer term runners. We're seeing coins go to 0 to 20 million over the course of a few weeks. We're seeing things like Please getting organic price action up to 35 million, still holding steady above 20. So I think we're seeing less quantity, less volume, but we're seeing more concentrated liquidity into the winners, if that makes sense. So you're seeing the ones that aren't you're missing the part where everything's manipulated, volume bots are going, everyone's trying to drive FOMO, and then you're kind of just getting the natural movement into memes that make sense and that people enjoy.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree as well. So real quick on the Radium news, I was looking at the Radium, why would I not own Radium versus Jupe, right? Radium's market cap is 500 mil, 1 billion TVL. Jupe is at 1.4 B market cap, 5 point. So Jupiter has 5x the FDV of Radium. Are either of you guys interested in Radium over Jupiter? Do you own either? I think this is an interesting play. I've saw Mando like be really bullish on Radium, which didn't really work out for him. But I still think.
What do you mean didn't work out? Over what duration?
Like he was heavy in Radium, and then they saw a really big dump after Pump Fund.
No, but over what duration?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, multiple. Like I saw him tweeting about it a lot. Like,
what sort of context is this? It didn't work out for him. Okay, when did he buy it?
I mean, look at the chart. The last 6 months, Nick. Look,
okay,
the last
so
month,
over the past 6 months.
62%.
So it's been a multi-month trade. Thank you for answering that question, there, Clemente. What the hell? It wasn't the past 3 days. Okay, because if he bought it 2 days ago and you're like, oh, it didn't work out, I'd be like, okay, well, it's been 2 days. If you're like, he bought it at the Pico top, I'd be like, oh, that's rough.
Yo,
right?
he's
like,
down millions of dollars. He bought this thing at the Pico top at $8 and it's down to $180. He's down a fuck ton of money.
Okay,
you buy it?
Well, thank you for that insight. Now you told me the story.
Oh,
My
man.
God. At first, I got Ray driving us into a cul-de-sac. I got Clemente in here running us into a fucking wall. Can't even get the car started, more like it. Holy shit. Okay, dude, I like Radium. I own a bunch of Radium. I think I've held my position on Radium. Am I down bad? Yeah, I'm fucking down bad because it's been down only from $8 down to $182. So, but do we think that this bad boy is going to come back? Yeah, I think so. That said, one of the things, one of the major motivators of this sell-off was the fact that Pump Fund had any level of a liquidity pool. I don't think they fully rolled that out though yet, right? It still graduates to Radium.
Correct.
So that was an experiment that the market interpreted as 100% Pump Fund is doing this, and this is where they're headed. I think at the end of the day, you still need liquidity on these different things. And where does that like come from? Like Jupiter, I don't think, does Jupiter create their own liquidity pools separate from Radium?
I'm not sure, honestly.
That ends up being the question. My understanding was there's multiple different components of this. There's DEXs, Jupiter has perpetuals trading. That's one of the primary drivers of the value that they have. So they actually take revenue that's coming in and they use that to buy their tokens. And they specifically do that with JLP, which is one of their other tokens, not the Jupe token. And I think some of the, someone said Jupiter is an aggregator. So they're actually taking it from all the different sources, which is
Radium, Orca, and Meteora.
Okay. Yeah. And Easy just texted me, no, they're an aggregator. So that actually ends up like that's versus if Radium is sourcing it from their own liquidity pool. And I don't know, maybe someone can clarify on whether or not that's Radium's their own. So basically Radium, Orca, Meteor are the three liquidity providers, and Jupiter is an aggregator, which is why if I'm as a consumer and I'm not going primarily to swap, this is the situation that we ran into with trading on BullX. It felt like BullX's liquidity pools were coming from somewhere else, potentially even their own, with random tokens. It wasn't all tokens that you ran into this issue, but there were some tokens, like I remember Pudgy Penguins, where like you were getting different prices than what you were getting on Jupiter, for example, which was going and pulling from multiple liquidity providers. So they were using a single source play. So it could have been like they were just going to Radium. So the value proposition is slightly different between these different providers. So it's not a apples to apples comparison. Anyways, that's what I'm getting at with that side of things. That said, is Easy saying Radium, Orca, Meteora. If those are the three, yeah, Easy just verified what I said. They were predominantly Radium with BullX. So that's the issue that you run into basically is you need that aggregator in order to get the best value. If you look at Phantom when you're trading on there, they're using even more. They have some other protocols that they end up going with, which are like more niche protocols. I have no idea. Or it's more things like Uniswap V1 versus V2, where like you need people to move over to each of those different chains. Uniswap also launched their own L2 like Unichain or whatever, I think.
Yep.
Where like, but you still run into issues where you need, that's what the whole TVL thing is on all these DeFi protocols, is that essentially it's just saying, hey, there's money that's on this chain and available for swapping. Broadly speaking, more narrow would be that it's within that specific liquidity pool would be the more accurate representation. But yeah, anyways, long story short, I think Radium obviously got a huge pump as a result of Pump Fund. And then them coming out, them saying basically the possibility that Pump Fund's not using them is damaging enough to send their token price down at a minimum 50% from when it pulled back. So what are you going to say?
I think it's a combo of like three things. I think it's a combo of Pump Fund not using them. I think it's a combo of less volume in the meme coin market and trading market in general. We're seeing orders of magnitude less volume, so less fees. So I think it's a part of that. And it's also another token pegged to Solana, which is down as well. So I think it's like those three things. I think Pump Fund is just one part of that. I think the price action on many of these tokens looks very similar to this over the last 2 months, where we've kind of went like down only on the meme coin side. I'm concerned that like it just feels like a no-brainer for Pump Fund to launch their own liquidity pool and probably launch it alongside their token and incentivize people to use their liquidity pools with Pump Fund token. Like that just seems like a no-brainer on their side to create utility for the token, create create buy pressure on the token, incentivize people to use their pools. Why wouldn't Pump Fund want a piece of all the LP fees is like kind of my thought process with that. So I don't think Radium is going to like recapture a Pump Fund pump. I think that Pump Fund is going to do their own thing on the LP side. But that being said, Radium is still like the leader in the LP field for a blockchain that is very transaction heavy. And if we do see Solana rebound, any kind of meme coin season or mass adoption, I think Radium is just like a very good play in the ecosystem itself, because it's a very integral part that's going to be used for meme coin swapping, any other token swapping, etc. Like I don't think they're going away just because they're not getting the automatic Pump Fund tokens.
Yeah, and building I mean, really the liquidity provider thing is like setting one up. There is a technical side of this where you like have to build the infrastructure in order to do it, but that not only do you have to build it, you need to drive a bunch of liquidity into that space. And if Uniswap can't even do it on their own chain, and them being one of the biggest around, then like in the entire space, if not the biggest DEX, I don't know who's the biggest DEX right now. So but we could use DEX tools or DEX screener to figure that. Well, no, sorry, DeFi Llama.
DeFi Llama right now.
But yeah, the bottom line is those, you got to really take a look at the. It shows PancakeSwap, which is what I was saying is the number one thing right now. Their PancakeSwap is out tweeting that they're cooking. They got a new recipe for their pancakes.
30-day volume, Uniswap, PancakeSwap, Radium, Orca, Meteora.
Yeah. What's the like? Look at Uniswap, 9.5 billion versus Radium, 2.7 billion. It's actually interesting that Radium's still outstripping Orca and Meteora, but they're still relatively like similar. And it's also interesting. Uniswap may not be a fair comparison because I think you may need to add up Radium, Orca, and Meteora because they are so evenly split there. You don't have a like what's the runner up to Uniswap? There really isn't one on ETH.
No, you have Aerodrome on the base side, so they compete with base for Aerodrome, which does like a fraction. But yeah, there isn't really a.
I mean, they're still doing a 1.3 billion, which is pretty wild that base is doing that much. This is a pretty positive indicator for base. This would also validate that position of the report that came out the other day saying that I forget who it was. Was it the same people that set the price target for Bitcoin to 500,000? But whatever. Yeah, I don't know if that was part of that same report or another one. But basically, whatever the report was, they came out and said that basically base had taken away $50 billion worth of value out of Ethereum, which is like a completely valid argument associated with it. I don't, the whole argument with the L2s, I don't know the technical nuances of how the L2s like persist their data back to ETH, but clearly like it's not in a way which is value additive, it's value extractive. And I remember Vitalik, back when all the NFT stuff was happening, tweeting about like, oh, NFTs should all go to L2. Basically get the fuck out of here, which is kind of just a weird thing versus like, hey, why don't you just make a blockchain that works? That ETH has become the most like convoluted ecosystem in existence. One thing, last thing, I'm gonna stop my rant. This was all built off of Clemente's just basically uneducated take, if we're calling a spade, you know, about Radium. I mean, not to put you on blast, Clemente, but I mean, can you at least acknowledge that?
It was a question. First of all, it was not a take. I said, hey, educate me, please. And instead, you guys just go on some random mumbo jumbo. The last thing I'll share real quick, Nick. I just saw this tweet from our guy, Trevor King, Bodago, who's now working with Joe McCann. And he just shared that Jupiter's February 2025 revenue set a new all-time high.
Look at perps. That's what I'm talking about right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is, yeah, I think Ray properly categorized this.
No, that was a good, like, I do enjoy looking at the data. It was a, like, good insight.
Well, it actually informs it. So you're saying your random take on Radium was just completely unbased on anything, any fundamental analysis?
Yeah, look, I mean, that's the left take. You gotta go with what the balls are telling you sometimes, right? And that's what the feeling I'd gotten.
Someone said, someone took the ETH doesn't work. LOL, sure, buddy. Wasn't even willing to define their own username. Your username is H. You're a loser. Okay, so that's the beginning of that thing. But let me actually just run through this final analysis before I hop on a bike and go and check out another apartment. The so here's my thing on ETH, and you're absolutely H is I want to just reemphasize how much of a dumb idiot that person is. It's the most like disparate place in existence. Like you want to go make a swap or something like that. Go to Phantom and go to the swap and look how they're constantly like switching between the liquidity provider that's giving you the best price. Now, I don't know if Phantom's the best place for where I would personally go. But like essentially they've built their own Jupiter, or they're interfacing with Jupiter. They're probably working with Jupiter. I don't know, but it's replicating the same functionality of saying like, here's where the best price is in terms of aggregation. Whereas like when you would go to MetaMask, that swap functionality used to be completely janky. And then you end up going to Uniswap. That's where everyone ends up going. That's like the primary thing. So there's no other like place to go do it. And then what happened was, so initially all is well in ETH land. We all use Uniswap. We all go to, for a while there, OpenSea to trade our NFTs. That's how the world was looking in 2021. All these L2s started like really pushing. Obviously, a lot of them have been around for a while, but they weren't getting adoption. And then we started seeing things like Polygon and all the other L2s popping up, Arbitrum, where we have stuff happening right now. We have every NFT company launching their own blockchain to say, come over to our L2 subnet, essentially, is what it effectively is. And I may not even be using the technical term properly, but essentially it's some version of Arbitrum, AVAX, which is not an L2, it's an L1 EVM compatible, which may make it vastly superior. I don't know, that's debatable. There's Base, which is another L2, but they're basically they're a sucking force on the Ethereum space, and not in a good way.
Yeah.
Not the sucking that you like. And so what I'm saying is they've been the entire ETH ecosystem has been one giant drain on Ethereum itself. Whereas when you look at the Solana ecosystem, it's been additive to the entire ecosystem. None of those systems that have been built are like extractive. outside of obviously the entire meme coin space was wildly extractive, and people like Hayden Davis. So the people may have been somewhat extractive, but it's not the same structure in terms of the way that that's built. Whereas like the elevation of Ethereum, the future of Ethereum, the progression of Ethereum is all built on the backs of get people off the L1, which to me is just an awful fucking thesis. It just means the system's broken, player. Like it just doesn't work. Now, is it a better development environment? Fuck yeah. EVM is just a better developer experience, and some of these L2s are going to be even better development experiences. But like ultimately, all of them are moving away from ETH proper. You got someone like Hyperliquid or whatever, which is not building on ETH proper, but is extracting a ton of liquidity out of the DeFi space. Yes, a rising tide lifts all boats, so it's not like down only for Ethereum. But like, why the hell is someone like, why would I go invest my development efforts on ETH L1 right now, primarily? Like, why would that be the option? And as a developer, I'll just say straight up, the incentives are all to go to the L2s because they have huge amounts of money and capital to try and attract you. They will pay you money to go build on their platforms. That's just the reality. Yeah, you got to go build a business relationship with them, but they'll give you money to go on their platform. What is ETH going to do? They're not going to do shit. So I'm going to go build an ETH compatible. Like, what are you're going to go build an ETH NFT platform? There's no room. There's no incentive for innovation on ETH proper, unless you're a complete geek who like nerds out on blockchain technology and wants to like do PhD level stuff to determine how to push forward the evolution of different things like ZK snark, ZK rollups, all these different things, which no one in their fucking right mind understands what the hell is going on, like unless you're like deep in the weeds of actual blockchain technology, which nobody wants to be. So like what I to say, I understand ETH is not dead because there's a whole DeFi space that's operating there, but like all of the forces are pushing away from it. The only thing that's pushing it better is MetaMask, but I would argue that they're obscuring things to say, hey, we're making it easier for you to operate between all these different places, ETH L1 and all these other layers, which means they're not driving anything back to ETH L1.
Well, A, you need to be using Radium and not MetaMask. B, I love your daily, like, let's just shit on this chain right now.
No, but the adoption is not there for Rabby. Sorry, like there's still everyone like uses MetaMask by default. But yes, I appreciate your brand loyalty to Rabby. But yeah,
it's not brand loyalty. It's just better user experience. Anybody who's used it is just like, okay, this is a million times better than MetaMask. It's just how it is. It's just like the consensus for anybody who has used Rabby before and has used MetaMask. It's just what it is. I don't know how else to tell you. Start using Rabby and you'll say the same.
No, I know it's fine, but I'm just telling you the user numbers speak for themselves.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I think that there is that real issue though, because like if ETH is trying to bring people onto their chain and saying, don't shard off, don't go to these L2s, you create this weird supply demand problem where everyone wants to then transact on mainnet. It's additive to mainnet in terms of ETH and fees, et cetera. But then you have to pay these absurd gas fees. But you remember in 2021 paying these outrageous gas fees. They've made some improvements, but if we get the same kind of volume that we had during the NFT run, where you have these spikes of activity that go beyond the block limits for individual like events, you're paying thousands of dollars potentially to get a transaction through, and that just isn't scalable. So like they're in this weird position where they don't want to drive adoption to their token in a way that's going to be the most beneficial to the token. And then they actively also want to like push it away somewhere else that it isn't as beneficial to the token. So it's like this weird scenario where there is no win, in my opinion, for mainnet. They're basically building it as like a public good and not as like a business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's like a science experiment. I mean, if you think about the beginning of it though, Vitalik is like is a genius. He used to essentially write theses about Bitcoin prior to building Ethereum, and was a contributor essentially. And I think that he's a genius, and he's at the forefront of blockchain technology. But everybody that's at the forefront of blockchain technology is more like a PhD style person, which there's nothing wrong with people that are like that. But when it comes to like user adoption, the reality is the market cares way more about that. That's why you end up seeing financial analysts looking at some of these alternative blockchains, because they see activity that's taking place in those places, and they end up using it. You see someone like Fred Krueger, who's like just off his rocker, just seems to still be learning about Solana all of a sudden, became like a Solana maxi out of nowhere at the tail end of the bull run was done, and he's like Solana maxi. But he's right. His perspective is heavily built on a user experience side of things. And so when someone goes and says, hey, go download Phantom Wallet or whatever, and go use that, and I'm going to send you some Solana, that's the experience they have. It's instant. They're able to swap right there. They're able to go buy whatever they want. Like, they have this like positive experience. That's just a better customer experience. And you don't end up with some of the hacks that exist on ETH didn't exist on Solana. So do you remember these like drainer NFTs that existed on OpenSea, where people are like, oh, someone figured out a way to list these NFTs that would like grant you permission, and then they drain your wallet? Anyways, there were like these weird like hacks that people had built, but you couldn't do that on Solana. But even if you did it on Solana, it would take 2 seconds just to swap wallets, and like everything's just one click. It's instant. So anyways.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think the UX is much better on Solana. Clint, did I cut you off there? Were you gonna say something?
No.
Can I share one other thing real quick that's unrelated to this? And I'm curious what you guys think about this.
Yeah.
There's two sides. There's the S&P, and then there's this Bitcoin price action.
Actually, I was about to ask you to bring up charts.
It felt like the fucking bear market when that short was realized, right? Everyone, I was like, just yesterday for a while, I was like, oh man, the fucking market is over. FOMC coming in, Trump tariffs, it's over. And then today it's like, we're back. And XRP is pumping. Solana's up 4.5%. Looking quite decent on the charts. Ethereum had a huge run this morning, breaking out of some key levels, honestly. And so there's bullish price action taking place there. I've been seeing a lot of positive Bitcoin news stories also that have been taking place about, we saw Arizona passed some other hurdle in terms of buying Bitcoin. Another state came out, said that they were buying Bitcoin, essentially, that it's like on the docket. I don't know which state it was. You see U.S. Congress people, which I was going to look up the percentage of bills that pass in the House. I don't think it's that much, but in terms of Congress people talking about, they think there's a good chance that they can get a bill passed where we actually buy Bitcoin. I have no idea. Like, listening to Congress people project the future is like as good as listening to economists. They're just wrong a lot of the time, but it still is interesting. And there's a lot of wildly bullish news. You got reports of more inflows from BlackRock. I think it's a misleading statement when people are posting about this, but it's because of their FBTC ETF, where you saw a lot more inflows for the first time in a while after day over day and week over week outflows over the past few weeks. We've seen something like 5 days in a row of positive inflows for Bitcoin. So that's been incredibly bullish. If anything, I've seen just a ton of positive Bitcoin news. The other thing that a lot of people were scared about for a while there is like, there's this feeling when all the altcoins and especially meme coins are going down bad, everyone's just like, will these ever come back? that's the feeling that happens during those moments. Should I sell all my Solana? Is this a bad trade? I was having that conversation with like Pio the other day, and I was like, dude, the fact that you're feeling like this just means it's going to fucking come back, dude. Like, I think you need to like, but could it pull back another 50%? Maybe. Like, I have no idea. Or I don't know about 50, but down to like 80, $85, possibly. I have no idea. I can't predict that. But the fact that we're seeing Bitcoin up 1.85%, Solana up 4.3%, ETH up 4.6%, to me is like, yeah, like I'm cozy in my bags with Solana and some of these other things. It's not going to feel cozy if it pulls back to 80 cents. Like, it's not going to, or sorry. Yeah, no. Is that
$80?
$80. Sorry. Why did I say 80 cents? 80 cents will not feel cozy at all.
That'd be great. Just load up on some Solana.
Holy shit.
$8 for 100 SOL.
Yeah. If it pulls back to $80, it's still not going to feel as good. But the reality is like this chart right now, like I could go either way on Bitcoin. This almost looks like it could definitely go like this, right? And I would not be surprised to see something like that happen. Like, I think this is all heavily driven by overall macro vibes at the moment. And like, we've kind of like reconciled the Trump volatility over the first couple months. Like, Trump feels like he may be playing golf right now. He hasn't been saying any outlandish stuff that makes the market just absolutely dump. His trade war comments about it coming in April 2nd does not seem to be moving the market substantially right now. We see the S&P popping up, but like this chart doesn't look too good on the S&P. Like, we're still down below this 56.69 level or 56.70. I don't know. You can draw it. S&P. It's a harder thing to draw with stocks because their market hours make it a little more volatile versus like crypto is more consistent. It's continuous. But you could draw a nice rectangle somewhere in this range from like, I don't know, somewhere between 5,700 and down here at 5,650. The S&P below this, or sorry, this SP, yeah, that's S&P. Somewhere between that range, you could draw as potential resistance. And as long as we're sitting here, I'm not yet bullish on any of this price action. I think we're in this nice consolidation after a serious sell-off. The market always goes through these. So I'm interested in just seeing what this next level of the pullback is. As Easy and I did on our analysis, we thought that this was like a 50% progression here. And you always, and this first sell-off was so fucking rapid. So we could definitely see this down another 600, down at like 4,900. And it looks like there's levels down around this. And this would hurt. Like, this would fucking hurt. You're going to feel pain in this during this. But like, the good news is this happens through somewhere around like May. And then we start seeing, a progression, which is why all the people talking about Bitcoin 500,000, that still could possibly happen. We have plenty of time for this market to pull back further. And that's where I it's not clear what's going to happen. I feel like the market's on edge. If I see the VIX pull back, which it has off of this wild level. But if you got option trading PO pop on to talk about it, what he's not usually discussing is this VIX. And this is the primary driver of options premiums. And so like, it's still pretty expensive to short the market right now. Like, this is still relatively at a high level just over the past. You can go back into 2023. You haven't seen volatility at these levels. You've seen it 3 times over the past year. And so I'd love to see if we see a little bit more of consolidation here and the VIX coming down a little bit closer to 16. I would definitely start buying some puts And I missed the opportunity. I'm really pissed. I was sitting like here being like, I kind of want some puts on this, on the market right now. I missed it. You can make some solid hedges. So what happens is when you end up you buy a wildly out of the money put. That's what I did with the COVID trade was my trade. A huge chunk of the premium that you're getting is the volatility premium. Obviously, the time premium is the other thing that you're looking at. So if you're buying short duration puts, it's not going to work as well. But if you buy 2 week, 3 week, 4 week, somewhere in that range, you're getting a lot of volatility premium coming into it. So you could see a pullback by an S&P put, 3 weeks out from now, that's down around 5,200, right? Like that looks wild on the stock market to have a 2 week pullback, but we saw the market is probably pricing it this way right now because we've seen, and the reason the VIX is high is because we've seen so much movement in such short period of time.
And you think, Nick, is this why you think PO's making more money? Like you think PO's making more money than he normally would via the options trading because it's
the volatility premium on short dated option. It's time duration and volatility premium. You get a steep curve the closer that you get to the end. So like if he were to sell an option for tomorrow, the time decay is just too substantial towards it. But when you're looking a week, 2, 3 weeks out, basically, the problem is, look, the reality is the S&P in a 2 week period was able to go from $6,100 down to $5,500. That means that the volatility premium should be high during that time, basically. And so, and as time goes on, if we get a consolidation, I mean, God willing, we get a consolidation. Like, I hope that we do. I would not want to see this immediate sell-off, but I'm just going to draw a random line here just to say, if we could get some sort of consolidation in this range for like, a few weeks, you're going to see the VIX. You're going to see the VIX come down. And that's the best time to be buying. If you are a speculator and you like buying, you want to go buy options, that is the best time to be doing it. The best time to be selling it is when the volatility premium is high, but the market's not really moving that much. And also when you're selling puts selling calls would be way more interesting. The VIX also tends to correlate. Why are you just talking shit? Ray's out here writing comments. Why not just say it?
I didn't want to interrupt you.
Okay. So anyways, the bottom line is, I think, well, you did, but you just interrupted me. So if you're going to do it, just say it. But the bottom line is, if we get this consolidation, that's when I would start buying these puts. That's when I'm interested in entering some of these trades. But it's pretty expensive right now. And to answer your question, Clemente, yes, the volatility premium is the reason. And if he's selling calls, the VIX usually tends to go up also more when the market goes down, not when it goes volatility to the upside. So that's what you're looking for. Anyways, Ray, what's your thought? What do you want to discuss?
I'm going to say you might have some volatility later today. Powell's speaking today, 2:00 p.m. after FOMC rate decision goes out. We're basically seeing no chance of a rate cut this month or next month. If he comes out dovish today and it looks like we flip back to more than 2 cuts being the favorite, because right now we're looking at 52% seeing at 2 cuts or less and only 48% 3 cuts or more. If he comes out dovish and we see that slide a little bit towards more cuts this year, more quantitative easing, I think we could see increased volatility and maybe a run on the upside. So something to watch out for, because I don't think the market's pricing in any kind of like dovish talk from Powell today. There could be that opportunity to get in with additional volatility if we do see something like that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we'll see what Powell says. My expectations is it's more of the same. They're probably holding interest rates. They are seeing they are seeing positive indicators in terms of the reduction in inflation, but we're still seeing a strong job market. We're seeing positive macro level indicators in the US. And so we're not cutting our interest rates anytime soon. We think that our policy going forward, he's going to reiterate where he's at. The long-term goal is to get interest rates down to 2%. That's his target. And so I really think there's a whole lot of nothing happening here. There was some volatility over the layoffs, but then we saw like after there was like a negative jobs report and then there was like a positive one. Also things that's kind of weird is all those reports get readjusted after a period of time.
Yeah, the jobs reports, you feel like you have to take them all with a grain of salt as they come out because they do get readjusted, like you said.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to discuss today before we wrap on this Wednesday?
No, sir.
Anything on your mind, Nick?
Yo, good luck at the apartment search, Nick. I hope it's a good one for you.
No, I got nothing on this front. Although, dude, I'm excited about this app coming out, the Choose Rich Live app. It's requiring a little more development. I've built out some AI stuff, which I'm very excited about.
Nice. Is it on Android yet?
Yeah, dude. So what you need to talk to is Google Play and Google about that because it's not a me problem. It's the Play Store is incredibly difficult. The latest version, I can't get it out yet. I'm just waiting. And they take multiple days to get approval. App Store at iPhone is just cranking.
Damn, there's so many good apps in the Play Store too. Who would have thought that people couldn't get apps onto the Play Store? It's just wild. I don't know. It's tough. Tough one. Anyway, thank you all for listening to another episode of me arguing with Nick and fighting back and forth the whole time. We do the show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern time. Catch us on all major podcasting platforms. Watch us.
Are you feeling sad, Ray?
YouTube. I am feeling excellent. I'm having a ton of fun today. My ETH longs are open. I'm going into the FOMC firing. Have a wonderful Wednesday. See you next time.